Welcome to the ASUG News Studio. My name is Tom Whalegum. I'm the co-editorial director of ASUGnews.com. Delighted to have two gentlemen in the studio from SAP and SuccessFactors. Gotta say that slowly. Roy Ng, you are the VP of Business Operations at SuccessFactors. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Sven Denecken, you are the VP of Cloud Strategy at SAP.
Welcome.
Welcome. I love having you guys here. This is very exciting. Great topic. I mean, if last year's show was all about HANA, this year's show, a lot of cloud talk, and you guys are in SuccessFactors right in the thick of things here.
Right.
So, Roy, maybe we'll start off with you. What is the current kind of cloud strategy now that SuccessFactors is under the umbrella? Lars has come in and give a great keynote yesterday.
Right.
Offered that strategy up. Can you tell our members what that strategy is now?
Absolutely. So at the very highest level, we now have 4 core pillars within our core cloud portfolio.
Okay.
All of which are focused on the large enterprises. HCM, which is the people component. We have financials. We have CRM, customer relationship management, and suppliers.
Okay.
We will also offer business by design for the upper mid-market as well as the large enterprise subsidiaries, and Business One on demand for small customers.
Great. And Sven, maybe we'll go to you next, and or actually I'm going to follow up with you, Roy, on that one.
Sure.
As if you watch Twitter, the term cloud and the marketing can be very malleable. I mean, it can mean lots of different things. And you can hear analysts who analyze this industry, and they'll talk about, well, if it's not multi-tenant, there's a big difference between that and hosted. I think most customers probably don't care too much about that. They just they care about other reasons, about getting a good deal, having reliable software. What's your take on, what are you hearing from customers? What's their general idea about that?
Customers ultimately want time to value. And so what the cloud brings is, be it multi-tenant or private cloud, is to bring that value to the customer immediately. And Sven can talk to you a little bit about our own implementation, or SAP's own implementation of SuccessFactors to its 55,000 employees.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. I mean,
we can, and maybe I want to add one thing to your earlier question.
Sure.
You said it was all about HANA last time, and now it's all about the cloud. I think that's exactly not right, because the industry, and let's talk from the market, they usually see mobile, big data, analytics as discrete trends. We think that those things come together. The cloud is the perfect catalytic moment to bring that together. We think that needs to be in every of the cloud solution. It needs to be combined. Why? Because we can deliver the value to the customer like in no time. And that's the value of the cloud. So when we talk about business terms, they want to leverage all of that technology, but they want to leverage it in their business process, and they want to leverage it fast. The cloud is all about velocity. And I think, coming back to what we hear this year, of course it's the innovation that SAP brings, and if you are a cloud provider, that technology sits on the shoulders of the vendor. So we handle the complexity. At the end, the customer buys the service.
Right. Do you want to talk a little bit about the SAP's deployment? That's some pretty big news.
Yeah, happy to do so.
Yeah.
We just got the email from Werner, so we are now happy and allowed to use the first modules from SuccessFactors, the first of many to come. And actually, in fact, I talked with my colleague Oliver Bussmann about that, and it is an implementation for 55,000 users who now can use it voluntarily, but it was done in less than 3 months. And if you might hear some other stories from SAP, and of course we're improving in every area, the cloud really proves here, and I think it is important because we also will change SAP from within with the cloud, and that's why you need to bring the modules and the products to the people and to the SAP employees.
Right.
So we start with SuccessFactors, and I think we're going to have great success there, so excuse me that, and we do that with all the other cloud solutions that we have from in our portfolio.
And just on the SuccessFactors portfolio, there are actually 8 products within what was deployed to 55,000 employees. So if you think about 8 products being deployed in 2.5 months, we already have off-the-shelf integration with SAP HCM suite to SuccessFactors. So all of that is automatic push data back up to the SuccessFactors modules.
And SuccessFactors also, as Lars's slide showed yesterday, rolled a lot of that. I mean, can you talk a little bit? I mean, that was, it was going by so fast, I think the Twitter stream couldn't even keep up with it because of the amount of what you guys did.
Well, the catalyst of this was really when the acquisition was announced.
Yeah.
Mark Benioff basically said, hey, look, SuccessFactors actually uses Salesforce.com. They'll never be able to get off it.
Right.
And Lars basically says, game on, let's see.
Right.
And very quickly, we were able to deploy not only sales on demand, but sourcing on demand, travel on demand, and business by design in very, very short time.
Yeah.
And we've been very, very happy with it.
There was some tight deadlines.
Tight deadlines, but we got it done. I think the teams ultimately are most happy. The customers, they're obviously the users of the software, and they've been very pleased so far.
Great.
And Tom, that's exactly the point, tight deadlines. That's the reality in our customer base. The business is constantly changing. They need to adopt new technologies. They need to adopt to new business networks and new behavior. And that's where I think cloud can be in first and can really deliver that value in a very short time frame. Because we should also not underestimate that the guys who have the checkbook are the business guys. And here in that sense, it was our HR department, was our guys looking into talent management. And of course, and that is something which I see now in that combination, very, very powerful, SAP is in the position to bring IT and the business on one table, and we have now the full credibility. And I think that's unique.
Right. You know, we're talking to ASUG members, and I'm wondering, you know, now that SuccessFactors is under the umbrella, how should customers on premise now think about this? I mean, what would you tell them when you go out and meet with them? They say, you know, we're happy with the on-premise, but the cloud solutions interest us, but we're not sure if we can make it work. You know?
Yeah, perfect question, because besides strategy, I think that's what really matters, the engagement with the end user. And let me shortly allude to my personal observation, because I was in ERP before, since 3 years in the cloud. So what I see is that at SAP specifically, we have too many layers with the guys who code and the guys who use it. And what we can achieve with the cloud and what we're striving for is really reduce those layers. And that means if what you produce, you get immediate feedback. We have now release circles a quarter, and we can iterate every quarter. So besides strategy, I have the pleasure to run what we call a co-innovation program, which goes on day in and day out with customers and partners and asking them, what are the trends? What do you want to see from the cloud? And here's, back to your question, here's what we do.
Right.
We ask them, try it out, test it. Bring your business to the table, bring your IT guy to the table. We have integration to SAP, and by the way, to non-SAP, because one of the things that when you only have 30 minutes in a keynote, you can only do so much, which I think we should also highlight is that new openness. The cloud is all about openness, and that's what I tell my customers. Use what you have, we integrate with what you have. We're going to measure by usage of the people. We want more people to use that stuff, because at the end, that helps the enterprise. More users, and let's go back to SAP. If 55,000 people use a solution, which actually it's not an HR solution, it's bringing value of talent management, it's value of business execution, it's value of tying me as a person with what my boss or my company or my department has as goals, but it brings it so tight. That is something which also helps me and it helps the enterprise, but I need to use it, not once a year, always.
Right. So Lars emphasizes a lot about beautiful user experience.
Yeah.
So there's an obvious answer to the beautiful user experience. Obviously, you want people to derive more value out of the application. But if you think about it, the more usage you drive in your employee base, the more data you collect. The more data you collect, we can harness the power of analytics and HANA in order to derive real business intelligence back to the company and help employees improve their productivity. Ultimately, that's the goal.
Right.
If you look at even some of the more consumer applications, when you have the data, you're able to target that audience very precisely on behavioral analytics, predictive analytics. If you look at Facebook or these next generation consumer software, that's the power that we can do right now.
Right.
To Sven's point, 55,000 employees here, but the power of SaaS is that because they're not isolated behind firewall, you have an aggregate set of data globally for all of SAP's customers that we could potentially provide benchmarking, anonymous benchmarking to customers of a certain industry, of a certain type. That brings a lot of insights that was never before possible without the cloud.
Right, absolutely.
And Tom, let me share 2 other findings from a customer perspective,
Sure.
because we're talking here also to customers, which are always here. It's the topic around security, so let's spend 2 or 3 minutes on that one, and Lars put it very nicely in the keynote already. And it's also about, hey, I've invested with SAP in modules, now you're bringing topics via the cloud, which is a different technology, but you can combine it, so what is in for me and what I really can use. So on the first one, as I used to be very close to Waldorf, I still have customers who visit me in Waldorf and want to see their cloud. And I don't want to be dismissive at all, because in the cloud, we're all in that together. It's a lot about security. And we are servicing customers, large customers, up to 2 million users. But the proof is really that they trust a company like SAP and SuccessFactors to handle, and I would argue it's a mission critical process when it has to do with people, most important asset. But it's more than just security of data, it's portability. How can I connect? How can I really leverage what I already have invested together with a cloud solution? Thus, to the second point, what I hear, how you really make sure that if now you have, to simplification reasons, systems of engagement, how you connect it with my system of record. Because it doesn't help if I only have it here or there. And you very seldomly get an ROI calculation from a pure cloud vendor more than 3 years. You know what happens? And that's the third question I get. How do you integrate that and how do you service that over the long run? And I think here in that combination, nothing more powerful, open to a third party, but in an SAP cloud environment, I think that there's no other reason to go somewhere else. It's one hand to shake, and that's what we're up for.
Leads me kind of to my next question. We've been hearing a lot about out-of-the-box integration. Maybe at a high level, we don't have to get down too technical, but what will that mean to customers? Because I'm sure that's attractive when they hear that, and they want to make sure it's more than marketing, is actually can happen.
So as I mentioned earlier, there is integration available today for SuccessFactors and the SAP HCM suite. All of the data there is integrated into our SuccessFactors full suite of products. So employee data, as well as the analytics behind it. So that's available today.
Okay, great.
Let me add it from another part of the portfolio. So take a module which is focusing on customers. Nice modules, mobile from day one, where you can have a 360 view of your customer. And those solutions, for example, Sales on Demand, they are connected to an SAP ERP or an SAP CRM. And how we do that, either it's a point-to-point integration with technology that the customer understands, he can service himself, he can configure it, but we of course deliver something out of the box. That's the expectation. Now, it's not about only technical combining it. It's really about understanding the business process, understanding where the value is created, and by that touch different kind of users to use more of that. And again, to my point earlier, the more people we get into that usage, I think the more the quality is better for the companies. You know what? A sales guy doesn't like CRM. I don't know if that's known, but that's bought by his boss. He needs a solution that is people-centric, supports him, is mobile, and he really can interact and collaborate in a very social way, which is another trend that we are striving for, to really get his job done and make it better. He, of course, wants to have that somewhere in the pipeline, but that can be done by integration. He wants to focus on get the deal done.
Yep.
Right. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming by. It was great. Great to have you here.
Our pleasure. Thanks, Tom,
Thank you.
for sharing time.
For more videos, check out asugonline.com as well as asugnews.com, and thank you for watching.